Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. You guys know I always bring the best of the best guests to the show, the top 1% of the guests to the show. And today we are joined with Nancy Jasin Ensley, an author, legal nurse, hospice specialist, and teacher whose writing spans memoir, fiction, and multiple genres. Her work is shaped by a lifelong career in healthcare and education, and deeply rooted in family, faith, and lived experience. She writes to reflect on life, memory, and meaning through story. Nancy, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
Thank you for having.
Can you please introduce yourself to my listeners?
Oh, I became a nurse. I was going to be a doctor. Um, I went to med school at Ohio State for I think 3 quarters, and I was very protective of my mother. The backstory on that is in my memoir, The Tire Swing. I had kind of a, how would you say, tornado like childhood. And it was very confusing. So I, rather than go hide in the closet, which I used to do as a little kid, I would run toward fixing things and take a risk. And that absolutely, I was just talking to my daughter about it, that we both are introverts, but no one would ever know that. So I said they were taking one more person as a nurse at Toledo Hospital School of Nursing, and I took the test, I got in, and I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll become a nurse, make some money, and go back to be the doctor that I thought I should have been. But my caretaking juices, what supported me in most everything in life was the idea that I could do something for someone and it might help them. And maybe they would think I was worthy in return. So I think that's the backstory, that's the hidden message in most of my books. It's the hidden message in my life. No one really, sometimes I've been looked at as intimidating because I would overdo everything. I'd overperform, I'd overdo everything, especially in nursing. If I had 10 patients, I wouldn't leave until I knew they were okay, all the orders were done. I had talked to all the physicians. I just had to, and I never ever did that to outperform anyone else. I had to do it for my backstory, my inner being that needed to be fed enough to feel worthy for that particular day. So, yes, I've been a nurse for. Once you're a nurse, you're always a nurse. People call me and ask me all kinds of things about. Someone called and said, I'm going to a winery. Do you think I should have a glass of wine? And I said, what medications are you on? How are you feeling? What does alcohol do to you? Because I am a counselor for alcoholism, etc. And you're always going to be a nurse. Someone always sees you as a caretaker. That's who the clothes that you wear. And so I haven't been a nurse for. This'll date me for sure. I've been a nurse for 64 years, and I love it. It is a wonderful profession. I've been able to go outside of the actual caretaking of patients to owning my own business, being a legal nurse consultant, all kinds of things. So, yes, there are a lot of hidden messages inside of people, too, as well. I'm sure you agree. So that's a little about my nursing profession, which I have loved. I've worked in the hospital, ER, as a vascular nurse specialist. I've gotten to do so many things, and I did get to work in hospice. That was very, very. I learned that death is a part of life, that it's a continuum of some type of plan that each of us have. Whether you believe it's God, give that a name, or uh, Allah, whoever you believe in, there is a force. We have electronic field around us. We have ions inside of us that are positive and negative, and all those things don't die. That chemical field still wanders around somewhere. So I believe that a lot of times we have paths that we have a chance to take, and sometimes it takes a risk to do that. Healing is so important. We definitely need that. And being a nurse for all those years, I learned that I needed to be able to love myself and heal myself so that I could be a good nurse for the patients I took care of and the responsibilities that I had. I don't know if you have any other questions, but that's kind of my nursing story in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Nancy, you write across multiple genres, from memoir and literary work to science fiction, mystery, and children's books. How do you maintain a consistent and authentic voice across such different styles?
I said I said the other day that I was probably schizophrenic because I have so many things floating around in this brain up here. Usually, when the tire swing with my memoir took me a long, long time to write. I had to be in the right setting with myself in order to tell you my story, let you know about the ups and downs in my life, things that I did that I was not proud of, and being able to be a survivor. In that, I always had a hero or a heroine or something. Even when I'd go take a ride in the park and I'd see children playing, and I'm thinking, I need to write a book about children. Look at how they laugh. Look how open they are. They'll ask you any question, even uncomfortable ones. I'll give you an example. My great-grandson is almost 4, very bright, and his father and mother parted. They had a divorce. So, and he's very close to his grandma, and myself, we live a couple of doors away. So he said the other day, I have 4 beds. And I thought, what a beautiful title to talk about a child who has to divide himself between the adults in his life who care for him and love him. And he has 4 beds. So behind that obvious story, yes, he has a different bed in each of those houses. What does he take from that, the surroundings and the atmosphere that he has? So a children's book just came to my mind. There's a squirrel out here. He comes down the oak tree. He goes up the fence, which is right outside my window when I work in the office here, and he chatters to me. He gets up and stands up in his little fat belly, and my husband feeds him crackers, and he can jump from the gate to the oak tree and hang on like he's got Velcro on his feet. And I'm thinking, he thinks he's a flying squirrel. So I need to write a book about Sammy, the flying squirrel with a question mark, because he is not a flying squirrel, but he really thinks he can, and he makes it. My grandson, he is now 19. He's going into the service. But when he was about 13 and 14, he used to spend a lot of time with me. And he said, Grandma, he drew amazing pictures. He's quite an artist. And he drew this thing with like 7, 8 arms and googly eyes. And I said, what is that? And he said, it's an alien. And I said, it is. Oh, from outer space? And he said, yeah, and I want you to write a book. I want you to write a sci-fi book. Well, at that time, I really wasn't. I didn't know enough about it. I was amazed by the how huge our cosmos is, and outside of this world, there's so many other worlds that we probably don't even know about. So that was too big a story for me to take on at that time. But I wrote about a man that came from a planet that's hidden behind a star. he looked different than the other aliens that he lived with. And he had a big nose, and he always had a smile. He never stopped smiling, no matter what. And they would make fun of him, so they decided to send him in an old, broken-down spaceship to investigate this Earth that they knew about, and to bring back, if he could get back, anything that he learned there. So he landed on Earth near a hat store, and there was a woman there. And people used to kind of make fun of her because she had a big nose, she smiled a lot, and she was really, really friendly. And I don't know why they made fun of her, but they did. So these two, the spaceman and the hat lady, got together. They got married, and they had a boy named Bernard Bartholomew Bosselbein. And he was half human and half alien. And so he grew his hair. His hair was really curly and red, and he grew it around his antenna. He had antennas there, and he had special powers. And because he smiled all the time and he had a big nose, he had those things from his parents, he'd get teased by the children. One day, they were at a park, and a boy fell in a well. And Bernard Bartholomew Bosselbein, we call him 3B because that's really hard to say, he rescued him. His arms could extend really long, and his legs, and he had magic powers and strength that people didn't always see. So that message about surviving, seeing the best in something, getting over bad times, even when people tease you, that you have to love yourself enough that you can get past those difficult times. So I kind of had that as a thread throughout any book that I wrote. I traveled a lot, owning 2 businesses over the years, and I got to speak to a lot of people in this whole country, and I got to travel quite a bit. So I met a lot of people who told me these stories. Some were funny, hilarious. Some of them were very sad. And one of them was about a murder that happened at a hospital. And I thought, oh, man, that sounds so good. Can I use your stories? I won't use your name. I'll use a fictional character to talk about a book about the healthcare system, kind of give some of my views about healthcare should be taken care of, etc. Put all that together, stir it up, and make a book. That book became Mitered Corners, and that had the backstory of Mitered Corners is when I was a first-year student in the nurses training, I had a very strict supervisor. And we had to make mitered corners. That is when you fold the bottom sheet up and you make a perfect 90-degree angle, then tuck it under. It acts like a fitted sheet. We didn't have those back then in the 50s and 60s. So she was observing me, and she took me to a private room where there was an elderly man there. And he was moaning and kept grabbing for my hand when I'm trying to make this perfect mitered corner. And it was so frustrating, and I felt so bad for him. And she said, Miss Paul, you are not doing a good job. And I stood up and I said, and this is very risky for me because I was really, really shy. I said, Mrs. Ludlow, I don't think this man cares whether he has perfect mitered corners. He needs something for pain. Please go get him something for pain, because I wasn't able to give meds yet. And she went like this, and I thought, okay, I'm out of cool. She's going to get rid of me. She says, very well, you will practice. I will get him something for pain. We'll tuck him in, make sure he's comfortable. And then you will practice till midnight. When I come to see you, you will have a perfect mitered corners. So when life drives you to be perfect and to do everything right, never do anything wrong, sometimes you've got a story behind that. And you need to fix the pain first before you get a perfect mitered corner. So there's a lot. It's quite a large book, so that's why that one's there. When I had a compression stocking business, I would go to the seamstress business to get them made. And this particular day, it was snowing quite a bit, and a girl was out smoking, and I went up and said, "Hi, how are you doing today?" And she said, "Oh, look, look, look. There's a rainbow in December." And I did look up, and in the corner of the sky was a rainbow, even though it was snowing like crazy. So that turned into a mystery, a romance novel, and behind that title, there is a lot in that story. So, I don't know if you have any questions that I haven't answered. It's kind of how I write. I write from midnight until 3 in the morning. I talk to my protagonists, which are my characters. My husband wonders who I'm talking to, and now he's used to it. And I have to have a conversation with them. So one thing that I've learned over the years is to listen. I'm listening. I'm hoping that the host comes back and asks me some questions, but I'm trying to kind of give you a feeling for what kind of author I am, what I think about life. I think probably we can overcome most everything.
Thank
So,
you very much, Nancy. Nancy,
thank you.
at the heart of your work, what impact do you hope your stories have on readers? And what do you want them to take away from your writing?
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of a couple of things. I write a lot of poetry, and I think I found out, and I hope you take this away, that you do have a right to your opinion. You also have a responsibility for the delivery, okay? Delivery of what you want to say. Always, I know hearing is important. If you hear or can't hear or read lips, whatever you do, listen. There's a big difference between just hearing and listening. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. I appear that I'm a gregarious person, but inside I am really, I'm a loner. I'm fearful. I worry. So you want to find out more about someone else. So active listening means looking at the person, understanding, looking at your setting, where you are, how their tone of their voice, and asking questions, because what you get from them may be very different from what they mean. Write. Get a journal, even if man, woman, child, get something where you can scribble down how you think you feel. I wrote a journal story the other day, put it away, and read it. That I was frustrated with something that was going on. And so I read it, and I thought, oh, no. That wasn't anybody's fault at all. It was your fear of not looking good and doing the right thing. So that's important. Listening, writing, forgiving. Forgive. Just forgive. If something has happened to you, and it can be a very difficult thing, get some support, get some help. Professional help sometimes will help a lot. Forgive, because if you carry that rock, that albatross around with you, it's just weighing you down. It hurts, and it's never going to make any difference to what happened to you. You just want to learn from that situation and grow from it. The fourth thing I have to say is look in the mirror every morning, look at that person and say, I love you. You're going to have a great day. No matter what happens, you're going to stand there and you're going to take it in and do the best you can with it. You may fail. Don't beat yourself up. That person was made by a God, by some force, made you for a purpose. And so you are important. And then laugh at something. Just laugh. Life can be very, very good, no matter what you have, no matter where you go, no matter who you are. So those are my 4 thoughts. Another one. One more. Don't go on stage before the screen is written. before the story's written. That means don't get ahead of yourself until you've done enough research to understand things. That's
Thank
it.
thank you very much, Nancy. Thank you for being my guest on this special episode. Thank you once again.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you
Today,
for having me.
today with Nancy Jasin Ensley, we explore storytelling shaped by a lifetime of service across healthcare, family, faith, and multiple genres of writing. From memoir to fiction, one thread connected it all. Lived experience turned into meaning through story. If this conversation is sitting with you, carry that reflection forward. Until next time, see you guys again on another episode. Bye, guys. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a wonderful day.